Can I still do this?
Okay, we are recording. All right, so today is Tuesday, August 10th, and this is what we are doing in class today. So the first thing we're doing is a warm-up, and this can be found on your warm-up sheet. We're doing warm-up question 8. So I want you to pause the video and work on this warm-up question so you have time to see how to do this. Okay. All right, let's go over warm-up number 8. Number 8, you are subtracting. So that entails we have to make sure all of these terms get a negative. So we like to make arrows, okay? So when you do that, this becomes negative x squared. This becomes a positive 4x, and this becomes a positive 1. On the other side, you just bring those terms down. You don't have to do any math, just bring them down. So we have 2x squared minus x. At this point, you need to combine like terms. So we have 2x squared and negative x squared. Well, there's kind of an unseen 1 right here. So what is 2x squared minus 1x squared? That is just 1x squared, or you can simply say x squared. Okay, done with those. Next, you have negative x and positive 4x. There's an unseen 1 right here. So if you kind of switch the order around and think of it as 4 minus 1, 4 minus 1 is 3. Keep that x attached. That's going to be a plus, I'm going to use a different color, plus 3x. Okay. And then this 1 is kind of a loner. It doesn't have anything else with it. So you just bring that down. And that is the answer to warm-up question number 8. Make sure you're keeping up with these in your binder. Okay. Next, we need to label our table of contents in your notebook. So if you want to pause the video right here, go ahead and label your notebook like this. We're doing page 9 and page 10. So we're talking about multiplying polynomials, and we have some notes and some homework with that. Okay. All right, so to kind of review what we did last Friday, we started multiplying polynomials, and what we did, we distributed, right? So let's kind of review what that looks like. Here, we're going to distribute the 9. Okay. And then on the other side, you're going to distribute the negative 5. Okay, so what does this look like? 9 times x is just 9x. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Okay. And then you have negative 5 times x, so that's negative 5x. Then you have negative 5 times 6, that's a negative 30. Okay, so let's combine like terms. We have 9x minus 5x. 9 minus 5 is 4. Keep that x attached. It's going to be 4x. Okay. Then you have 27 minus negative 27 and negative 30. So you're basically going to combine those. You're going to add them and keep your sign negative. And that gives you a negative 57. And we're done. Okay. Next, we kind of have a distribution question in the middle here. So we're going to distribute the 3. This becomes 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Okay, then just bring down your other terms. You have 4x squared, and that was a positive 3x. And then bring down this minus 5. So the only 2 things we can combine will be that negative 6 and negative 5. So at the end, it's going to be 4x squared plus 3x, negative 6 minus 5 think of it as you're adding two numbers, but the sign's going to be negative. 6 plus 5 is 11. So make that sign negative. That's negative 11. And we're done here. Okay. So this one gets a little bit more complicated. You're going to distribute an x here and here. And then you're going to distribute a -2 here and here. The first term, we just bring that down. 4x, okay? X times x, remember, there is kind of an unseen exponent that's kind of understood to be there. So when you're multiplying and you have the same variable, we have x and x, it's the same variable. Your exponent, you're just going to add those exponents. So x to the first times x to the first. What is 1 plus 1? That is 2. So that is x squared. And then when you multiply x times -11, that's going to be -11x. Now we need to distribute the -2. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times -8, well, that's positive 16. Remember, when you do a negative times a negative, that is a positive. From here, let's kind of figure out all the things that we can combine. I see a 4x, I see a -11x, and I see a -2x. All of those I can combine. But when I want to do my final answer, I want to make it in standard form. So that means I'm going to start with my biggest exponent. The biggest exponent I see is a 2. So I'm going to start with that term. Okay, so I'm going to start with the x squared term. Okay, we're done with that one. Now let's go back to those x terms and let's combine them. When you combine 4 minus 11 minus 2, you should get a -9x. Remember that x is still attached to all of those. And then 16, it's still 16. We didn't combine it with anything else. Okay. Right. So when you're multiplying binomials, like a binomial times a binomial, it's a lot like distributing. You just do it twice. And something I like to do, I like to kind of cover up the one that I'm not using. So give me a moment and I'll try to find a figure. Oh, let's use a heart. Okay, I'm going to get a heart. All right. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cover up that +2. We're going to distribute the 3x to the x and to the 7. Okay. What is 3x times x? Remember, there's an understood 1 here, understood 1 there. So this is going to become 3x squared. 3x times 7. Well, 3 times 7 is 21. And you keep that x attached. Now, so we've used the 3x. I'm going to cover up the 3x. We're done with that one. Now we need to distribute the 2. Okay, I'm going to go underneath here. So this is what I mean by underneath. 2 times x and 2 times 7. Well, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 7 is 14. Now we can combine the two terms in the middle. Right here. 21x plus 2x should give you 23x. So your final answer, 3x squared plus 23x plus 14. And you're done. It's in standard form. Everybody's happy. Okay. This is example 1. Let's go to example 2. I want you to pause the video and I want you to try this on your own. All right. So you should have tried this on your own. Let's go ahead and distribute this, and I'm going to make another shape. Let's see. Let's do a star. Okay. So I'm going to cover up. Nope. Didn't mean to make that one. I'm going to cover up the second one here because I'm not using it. a little bit bigger. There we go. I'm not using that term. All right, so the first thing we're going to distribute is the x. It goes with the other x. It goes with the negative 10. X times x, remember there's a little 1 here, there's a little 1 here. You add those little ones and it's x squared. Then you have x times negative 10. That gives you negative 10x. Okay, now I'm going to cover up the x that I just used, and I'm going to distribute the negative 12. Okay, make sure you include that negative. So that negative 12 is going to go with the x, and it's going to go here with the negative 10. Okay, negative 12 times x is negative 12x. Negative 12 times negative 10, remember a negative times a negative is a positive. 12 times 10, that's 120. Okay, now you can combine the two middle terms here. We have a negative 10x and a negative 12x. Think of that as you're adding, but your sign's going to stay negative. Bring down that x squared. If we add negative 10 plus negative 12, that's going to give you a negative 22. Keep that x attached, and then bring down this 120. Sorry. Okay. Next. Okay, example 3. What if you have coefficients up here and here? A little bit different than what we just did. Again, I like to cover up what I'm not using. So let me see. I like the heart. I'm going to do the heart again. Okay. So I'm going to cover up this 6. I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to start with the 5x. Okay, I'm going to distribute the 5x to the 4x, and I'm going to distribute the 5x to the negative 3. 5x times 4x, well, 5 times 4 is 20. Remember, there's an understood little 1 here and a little 1 there for the exponent. So we add those exponents. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have 20x squared. Then you're going to multiply 5x times negative 3. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Keep the x attached. Okay. Now let's cover up that 5x. We're done with it. We don't need to see it. I'm going to distribute the 6 now. 6 times 4x is 24x. Okay. 6 times negative 3, that should give you negative 18. Okay, from here you can just combine the two middle terms. We have negative 15 and positive 24. That's going to combine to give you a 9x. Okay, and then you just bring the other terms down. We have 20x squared and a negative 18. And this is the 9x was positive. I'm going to rewrite that down here so it looks a little bit better. 20x squared plus 9x minus 18. And you're done with that question. Okay. Okay. Oop. Example 4. Okay, this one's a little bit different. I need to explain what that means. So whenever something is squared, it means you're multiplying it by itself. But in this situation, you have x minus 13 squared, so that's going to be x minus 13 times itself. So this is what this is going to look like, is x minus 13 times itself, which is x minus 13. And then we use the same process. I like the heart. I'm going to continue using the heart. Okay. I'm going to cover up what I'm not using. Ooh, I made that one a little too big. Okay. I'm going to cover up that. Okay. Now let's distribute the x. X times x. Remember, there's an understood 1 here, understood 1 there. Add those ones, keep your x, so it's going to be x squared. And then we have x times negative 13. That's going to be negative 13x. Okay. Done with the x. I'm going to cover it up. Now I need to distribute the negative 13. Negative 13 times x, well, that's negative 13x. Negative 13 times negative 13, that's 169. Okay. Now we just need to combine the two middle terms here. They're both negative, add them together. 13 plus 13 is 26. Your sign is negative. X squared minus 26x plus 169. And we are done with example 4. Okay. Example 5. This one gives you kind of a different solution. So let's see what happens. So the 12, we're not going to do anything with that. Just we'll bring it down. But here we're going to use the same process we did earlier. I cover up stuff so I don't get confused. Right. So let's distribute that x. X times x at this point, you should know x times x is x squared. Okay. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Okay. So let's cover up the x again. And let's go to the 5. We're going to distribute the 5. 5 times x is positive 5x. 5 times negative 5 is a negative 25. Okay. So something cool happens here when you have x plus 5, x minus 5. When that happens, do you see how a negative 5x and a positive 5x, they kind of cancel each other out. So you have nothing left in the middle. Okay. But we're still not done. We need to think about this 12 and this negative 25. Okay. So when you combine those, 12 minus 25, that should give you what? Negative 13. Okay, so we still have this x squared, bring it down. And then minus 13 when we combined these two. And you're done. Okay. I want you to try example 6 on your own, then we will go over it. All right, at this point, you should have paused the video and now we're back. So again, I like to cover up stuff. It makes life easier. I get less confused. All right. I'm going to cover up what I'm not distributing first. I'm going to distribute the 5x first. So I'm going to cover up this negative 3. Okay, so let's do purple. All right. If I distribute this 5x, it's going to go to the x and to the 7. All right. So at this point, again, you should understand there's one there, there's one there. So 5x times x is going to give you 5x squared. 5x times 7 is going to give you 35x. Okay. Now, let's uncover the heart and distribute the negative 3. So negative 3 times x is a negative 3x. Negative 3 times a 7 is a negative 21. Don't forget about this guy. We're going to say plus 8x at the bottom or at the end. Bring that down. So now we can combine like terms. And when you combine like terms, let's make it in standard form. So I'm going to do green. 5x squared is going to be our first term. We can't combine it with anything else, so we're done with it. Next, you're going to have 35x and negative 3x. So 35x minus 3x. And then you still have this plus 8x. So when you combine all three of those, 35 minus 3 plus 8. So 35 minus 3 is 32. 32 plus 8 is 40. Keep your x attached. So that's plus 40x. Okay, and that gets rid of this, this, and this. And then just bring down that minus 21, and we're done. Okay. Last example. This is a binomial times a trinomial. This one gets a little crazy. Just for kicks, I'm going to go ahead and label where the understood information is. So if you don't see an exponent, it's understood that it's a 1. Now I'm going to get my cover up. I like the heart. So let's make a heart. Okay. And let's move that. I want to distribute the x first. So I'm going to cover up that -2. Okay, so first we use purple. Okay, so we have x times x squared. We're going to have x times 3x. Then we're going to have x times 5. X times x squared, add the 1 and the 2, is going to be x cubed, or x to the third. X times 3x is going to give you a positive 3x squared. And then x times 5 is just going to give you a positive 5x. Okay. So we've distributed the x. Now we need to distribute the -2. So I'm going to go underneath -2 times x squared. That's -2x squared. -2 times 3x is, well, what's -2 times 3? That's -6. Keep that x attached because it's with the 3x. It doesn't disappear. You got to keep it here. You got to keep it down here. Okay. And then -2 times 5 is -10. Okay. From here, let's combine like terms. First off, I don't see any other x to the third, so I'm just going to bring that bad boy down. It's the highest exponent, so if we're in standard form, it's going to come first. Okay. Now, let's look at our x squared terms. We have 3x squared minus 2x squared. What's 3 minus 2? Well, that's 1. You don't have to put the 1, you can. I'm just going to put an x squared. That technically there is a 1 here in front of the x squared. Okay. So that got rid of those guys. Now we have a 5x minus a 6x. Well, what is 5x minus 6x? What's 5 minus 6? That's a -1, right? So that's technically a -1x. You don't have to put the 1, but it's understood to be there. Right? That gets rid of those. And then we just bring down that -10. And that is your final answer. Okay. So this is your homework. And this is an attachment in Canvas. This page and this page, there's technically a typo. This should just be a 3. So this is working on everything that we just touched on in this video. Okay. And then stay tuned for future videos for this week. I hope you're having a fabulous Tuesday.